Hi, and welcome to the Galloways Digital Hub. My name is Nadia, and I am your Learning Skills Coordinator. And today I am joined by Jenny White, another one of our Learning Skills Coordinators, and Anne Hornsby from Mind's Eye. Thank you both for joining us.
Hello and welcome. I'm Jenny White. As Nadia has explained, I am one of the Learning Skills Coordinators here at Galloways, and a very warm welcome to Anne. Anne, if you'd like to say a quick hello to us today and a brief description of your organisation and what you offer for services.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jenny and Nadia. Hi, everyone. My name is Anne Hornsby. I'm the Director of Mind's Eye Description Services Limited. I set Mind's Eye up in the early 1990s to provide access and audio description to the theatre, to galleries, and to other arts and cultural events for people who are blind or visually impaired, partially sighted. And we work with organisations right across the country, although we're based in the Northwest, which is the best place to be based. And we provide touch tours, introductions to productions, and live and recorded audio description.
Excellent, and thank you so much for that introduction. Before we get into the nitty-gritty, can I ask, how did you fall into this area of work?
I was working at the Bolton Octagon at the time. I have a degree in drama. I was head of marketing and publicity at the theatre. And I also was involved in supervising house management and customer care. We had a blind customer called Sheila Burkett who had heard about audio description. At that time, it was only being offered in the States and in one theatre in England. And so basically she said to us, is there a way that we could offer this service? So we had a lot of conversations about the sorts of things she needed to know, how to make it work for her. And then we did one or two trial sessions, and then we started inviting people from further afield, and the audiences grew from there. So it was quite a chance that I just happened to be working at that theatre, and Sheila needed audio description, and I worked very closely with her to find out the sorts of things she needed to know. And then about the same time, I started working with a blind theatre director called Damien O'Connor, and we worked together on the first audio described and handling tour at Manchester Art Gallery, again talking to him about the sorts of things he needed to know to complement and enhance his visit.
Thank you so much. So for somebody who has never heard of audio description, how would you describe it?
It's about bringing the visual aspects, particularly in a theatre production, to life. It's about making sure people don't feel excluded if they're not able to see too well what's going on the stage. So the sorts of things we would describe would be what the set and the scenery looks like, what the characters look like in terms of their physicality, their costumes, their facial expressions, their gestures, and any sequences where you might struggle to follow what's going on. So maybe everyone in the audience bursts out laughing, but it's a visual joke, so you don't feel a part of that. Or suddenly everyone in the audience goes, but you don't know why they're having that reaction. So it's very much about making sure that audiences feel included and part of what's happening, that they're not sitting there with questions in their mind. And similarly, within the art galleries and museums and the films we do, it's just about, I suppose, putting what is visual into words, making sure that people can access what's there and don't have questions about it. So it's an absolutely fascinating job for me, and I love it. Every performance, every exhibition is different, and I get to meet the most amazing people. So yeah, I think I'm really lucky.
Excellent. Thank you, Anne. So practically, is the audio description provided through a headset? And is that a live view of the audio description happening at that current moment?
Yeah, that's a good question. It generally, it's live. So what happens is if somebody arrives at the theatre, then usually we have a touch tour where we take people on the stage and we show them the scenery, the costumes. So that's all done without equipment. And then the person will receive their headset. There are infrared headsets, there are radio headsets, there are wireless systems that work through Wi-Fi, and some of them work better than others, as with all technology. The most of them sit in the air and hang down under the neck, but in some theatres you can use your own earbuds. And then the listener will receive an introduction of about 10 to 15 minutes before the show starts, sort of setting the scene. So they know who the characters are, where the action's taking place, what the overall look of the production is, if there are any particular conventions, like the actors are going to be charging past you in the audience, or every time you hear da 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 da, there'll be a big flash of green light and a puff of smoke and the baddie will appear. And then once that's finished, so that's about, say, if the show starts at 7:30, that will be about 7:15. And then once the show begins, our priority as describers is not to talk at the same time as the actors, so that you can listen to the dialogue. And then we come in during any gaps and during any gaps in the singing, and just provide the continuous description, or well, it's not continuous, but the live description. For some theatres and some productions, we have done recorded audio description, but the only problem is the timing. It has to be timed just right. There's nothing worse than hearing he picks up the gun and fires, and then 30 seconds later there's a big bang and you think, oh, that will be the gunshot then. So it's all about getting the timing right, which is more difficult to do if it's recorded, because for a live performance the timings change all the time. But it can work for some dance pieces that are very strict on the timing, and obviously it can work for in museums and galleries as well.
And when you are doing a live performance and actors decide to ad lib, how does that affect the overall flow for you and your team when a performance is taking place?
That is one of the challenges. Something like the Rocky Horror Show, it's not only the actors ad-libbing, it's the audience shouting out as well. But in most cases, you kind of know what the audience is going to say, so then you can build that into your script. When actors ad lib, sometimes it does mean that you do clash with the dialogue, because you think you've got a gap there and then they add a little bit in. Even I've been working on the Les Miserables concert tour, and even with that one, the Thénardiers, who are the sort of comic pair, they keep, particularly Monsieur Thénardier, just keeps adding things. Just when I think he's finished and I start to say something, and then he will add something in. So it's a little bit frustrating, but we try to work around it, because it is live theatre, and so you can sort of just pause a second while they say something and then come back in and catch up, as it were.
So I think it's such a vital service because what it allows people to do is to access entertainment and information at the same time as their sighted friends and family. And it just enriches that experience. And I think you've got the title of the work that you do bang on, mind's eye, because it's all about building that picture so that we're not missing out on any visual information when we are attending the museum or the theatre or any other events. So definitely hats off to you for all the work that you do.
Thank you. It is a joy, and it's always a joy. I've just finished the Christmas season, so it's great to watch children, and it's great to speak to parents of children who say to me, oh, they kept their headset on and they were joining in and they were shouting when the ghost appeared, or they were joining in with the song because they have all the information they need coming into their ears. And it's just, you can just relax, and also the people you come with can relax because they're not trying to tell you what's going on and then being shushed by other members of the audience. So as you say, it's just about feeling very much a part of what's going on, making sure you don't miss anything. And as I say, I get to meet some fabulous people that come to the shows and get to know them. And for me, that's a really enjoyable part of it too.
Great,
It's
thank you.
fantastic. Sorry.
Sorry. Yeah, that's great. Thank you. We've had a lot of information on kind of what happens at the theatre. What about the museums and art galleries that you said you provide some descriptive information for?
There's a group called Henshaws, which I'm sure many of you will be familiar with, and they have an arts and galleries group, which is coordinated by a volunteer. So they come to things maybe once a month or once every 2 months, and then the museum or gallery employs me to provide the information and the description. In the galleries, I usually work with the curator or a member of the learning team because they've got the knowledge about who the artist was, why they created that work, when it was created, how much it's worth, because that's often the question I get asked. So I tend to do a sort of double act with them. And one of the most recent ones I did was at Tate Liverpool. They're out of the big gallery at the moment while that's being refurbished, but they've got a small gallery. So I did a tour there, and I worked with one of their staff. So she had the sort of art information, historical information, and then I was there to describe what things looked like, basically. And I like doing the live tours because then you can have a dialogue with the people that are there and they can ask you questions, and it's much more of a conversation. But for some exhibitions, we would do a recorded description, and that's then something that anybody can access whenever they come into the gallery. So sometimes it will be an audio guide, and they have several audio guides. There's one with description. Sometimes it can be something that we can put online and then people can download and just have it on their own device for when they're there. So there are, I think, especially with advances in technology, there are lots of different ways that people can access things. And we also did a really interesting one at Gallery Oldham the other week, where people came along, and again, it was a live tour. And then I also do some training. So I trained people at the Southport Art Gallery, and I have done training at other venues in Liverpool, so that the people who work there, who have all the knowledge about the art, it's about enhancing their skills so that they can then be more descriptive when they're giving their tours, just to make them more accessible. So there's sort of lots of different ways of approaching it. And also what I encourage them to do is to offer items which people can touch, because I know it makes a real difference. So even if people can't touch the actual things, if they can provide something that's made of the same materials or is even a 3D print of what is in the gallery, or even if it's a raised drawing. So I work with them to just really expand what they have on offer for visitors.
Thank you, Anne. So how does it work in terms of if somebody wanted to access a touch tour or an audio described event, or a live tour at a museum, how would somebody access your service?
If it's something that's already advertised, it will be on our website, on our social media, and all the details will be there. Then they get in touch with the venue directly, so the theatre or the museum or gallery, so they can book tickets. The next one I'm not sure when this is going out, but we do have one at Aviva Studios on Sunday for the David Hockney. But you can edit that if it's not within the time frame. Yeah, so people generally get in touch with the venue. If it's something that they would like to go to and it's not advertised as having an audio described performance, then again, get in touch with the venue, ask the venue, but also get in touch with me. And the more people that are asking the venue, the better, really. The big touring theatres like Liverpool Empire, Manchester Opera House and Palace, they work in tandem to provide the service with the touring companies. So they will ask the touring companies for a contribution towards the cost of providing the service. So sometimes it's the touring companies who won't contribute. Sometimes it's the theatres who say, oh, we've spent all our budget for the year. But it's always worth asking, and with a little bit of encouragement to provide reasonable adjustments. It's always worth talking to them and saying, well, this is something that I really want to come to. And obviously, if more people take advantage of the service and more people are coming along to shows, then it makes the argument for more provision. If we only have one person coming along, we will always do it. And it's a pleasure to do it for one person. You get to chat to them and everything. But in terms of, I suppose, the theatre's point of view, if they have more people taking up the service, then it shows that there is a need for it. So, yeah, I would encourage all listeners to come along and, to bother their venues and say, well, why aren't you doing audio description or that? Or is there any way you could provide audio description for that? It's always worth asking.
Yeah, that's really good information there, Anne. And know that you do a lot with theatres in the Northwest, Blackpool, Liverpool, Manchester. And for our service users, they're prime locations for us to get to, which is a real good opportunity. And also, using your access card, if you do have one already, is going to enhance that for you because you're going to get your companion to come with you for free. You're going to then be able to enjoy the audio description and just make it an overall better experience. On our digital hub, you will find a section on the access card and how you can go about applying for one and the benefits that will provide you. Nadia, have you got anything else you'd like to ask Anne or say?
Thank you so much, and that information was very rich, very detailed, and very informative. If you could just share with us the link to your website and how we can get in touch, that would be really useful.
Yeah, sure. So the website is Mind's Eye Description, that's all one word, .co.uk. And on there, there's an events page with a calendar that takes you through into next year. Can you believe? And also there's a news page every month that we update with what's coming up that month. And then we're on social media. It's Mind's Eye Description on Facebook. It's Mind's Eye Description on Instagram, and Mind's Eye Arts on X. And if you want to drop us an email, there's a link through the website, or you can just go directly to mindsedescription@gmail.com. So there are lots of ways to get in touch, and we're always pleased to hear from people. Yeah, because it's a pleasure.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for joining us today and sharing all of that really useful information. We hope that everybody who is watching this video has benefited from this information and will get onto your website and start accessing a range and a wealth of different experiences, entertainment opportunities, museum visits. So it has been really, really useful. My name is Nadia Patel. I am your Learning Skills Coordinator. Today we've been joined by Anne Hornsby from Mind's Eye and Jenny White, who is also your Learning Skills Coordinator. Join us for a future video about the access card on our digital hub. Thank you so much for joining.
Galloways, support through sight loss. Contact us for more support on 01772 744 148. Support us with a donation, play our lottery, or with a gift in your will.